16 years ago, it was a tough time for Joe and the rest of the world. .com crashes, 9/11 whiplashes. I could have had a heart attack, but instead, what did I do? Instead of having a heart attack, I created Dicky and Jackie. Instead of falling apart, I took something from my heart. I created Dicky and Jackie. And 16 years later, I finished it up. That's right.
This video is for cartoon creators. This is a big one. I will cover character design. Up tall and then control. Poor little alien. Animation in Flash and After Effects. Voices.
Radiskull.
Sound design. Grab some coffee with friends and settle in for the making of Dicky and Jackie. In 2002, I started Dicky and Jackie. Then this AP News story came out in hundreds of newspapers, sending loads of traffic to joesparks.com. My web hosting bill was so high, I gave up on publishing and I went back to work for 16 years. Let's get on with it.
It's Thanksgiving Day in San Francisco, and I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you. Happy Thanksgiving.
I'm also thankful that I finally got this cartoon Dicky and Jackie out the door. It's been sitting, waiting, unfinished for a long time.
Dicky and Jackie.
Alright, hopefully you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's pretty cool.
Little bits of the hills are alive with the sound of music.
Sound of maybe Radiskull, you could say. Kind of a little bit.
Little bit of Radiskull.
These characters are type of reaction. If you look at Radiskull and Devil Doll, you've got Radiskull's this big skull. It's a very cartoony, but it's kind of detailed. It's got all these teeth. And then here's this little Devil Doll who's simplified, kind of like Dicky and Jackie. I mean, Dicky is kind of like Devil Doll. If you remember, very simplified Candy Angel and Devil Doll. But when they meet Mr. Schnitzel, when Wicked Nicky comes by, when the trick-or-treaters come by, when you see the poster of Gabriel on Candy Angel's wall, they're all humanoid figures. And so I was thinking, this is kind of weird. I want to unify all the characters and have them all of the same kind of proportions and the same symbols for eyes and so on. So Dicky and Jackie was a first reference to Jackie in her artwork, which is always kind of horrific. There we see two little details about Dicky and Jackie. They're having sushi, and then we see Hermie over here on the fridge as well. Everyone puts stuff on their fridge, photographs.
For lunch.
So there's Hermie, and what are they doing? Making stuff. Watch this. So see the kind of 3D-ish feel of the walls and buildings and lampposts going by? I just eyeballed that in Flash. I just laid out a bunch of layers and I just moved. It's not 3D. It's just, I skewed building sides and just...
Okay, what did I mean by I animated this by hand? So there's a 3D scene, and if you look at it closely, it's really not 3D at all. It's not even close. It's just a bunch of 2D objects, okay? So each one of these objects, as I move them, you'll see they're just little 2D pieces here. But let's go to this next set of keyframes right here. So how did I do this 3D? All I did was skew it. All I did was skew it so it looked like it was animating into place. Like I made it so that this would, shrink out of sight like so, and then become revealed. It starts out like it's revealed here, and then it goes away like this. This is just totally fake 3D. But I did it with all the pieces at once. I laid them out in place, and then I would make this light post go by faster, for example, as if we were going by, but I just eyeballed it, meaning I didn't have any reference to 3D other than just looking. And, in between these keyframes, of course, Flash is changing the position of these keyframes. So I'm just going to go over here and whack the set all over the place like this. Make it really fall apart. And now see, it's going back into place. It's all freaked out and it's going back into place. So yeah, I just moved these pieces around. I moved some pieces, just like that earliest Radiskull Devil Doll, where I moved the trees slowly. So I move this over time, but I move it slowly when it's in the back and even slower when it's back here. So this barely moves at all, but the things close by, these guys all move really quick. Look, there's the whole house. I'm going to go a little bit farther down here when the girl walks by. Just as the girl walks by, I'm gonna really freak out all these parts just for fun. Let's say we'll rotate Hermie, make him really huge. We can get him up in the sky, maybe like this. And we will just go to town with this guy and this guy. We'll just deconstruct the whole place. Flip these guys around. Make everything just kind of get nuts. We'll skew these guys around like that. Take these bushes, these trees, take this wall off of the side, make it go really weird. Anyway, you see what I'm doing. I'm just having fun stretching all these things. Let's just deconstruct reality here. Everything's really going crazy. Let's do the skyline as well. We'll skew it. Okay, so now let's watch it go from one spot to the next. So here you go. Let's just play this part. Whoa, yeah, whoa. And now it's going to go back into place. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? It's not going exactly in full speed. I think what I'll do is I'll export it. I'll just export this as a video and be really high res and nice looking.
Yo, my name is Hermie. I'm a little bit squirmy, keeping it clean so I don't get germy. Girlies, make a head go turny, spinning around this town since 6:30. And I'll bet Dicky is up about now. He's probably making lunch.
First of all, every frame in this episode, I did a version of this a long time ago, and it was made for 4.3. It was made at 512 384. So any bitmaps were done at a very low resolution. So I went in and I did all the artwork.
In non-nerd talk, that means it was this big on your screen now.
Yeah, it was really small, especially compared to the 4K monitors I'm using now. It was a postage stamp. So the whole thing was done targeted for that from the days when your biggest monitor was probably 800 by 600. So it was not, and also the sound was massively compressed. It sounded horrible. And plus I didn't have the noise reduction I have now and so on. So all of the sounds got kind of remastered. Some of them got remade. All of the art got refixed to a 16 by 9 HD screen. And I had to add extra art around the edges to kind of fill it in places. Now, I just want to mention one thing about this scene right here. So I decided to upgrade. Well, I upgraded the whole cafe, but especially this window. And while I was
upgraded it into another video.
Exactly. I upgraded clear into coffee with friends. So
just kept going.
I was just like, I made a clean spot. The thing I hated most about this scene is that, the character of these characters, they have a softer look. See, look at Hermie over here. He's got these hard outlines. And I love this look. It's great. I mean, everyone's kind of a little bit more refined in the scene with the glows and the lamps and everything else, and the steam off the coffee and the cloudy coffee.
They look new.
We forgot something. Hey there. So yeah, see the cloudy coffee? Here's some modern music that I made just for this little title here.
Hello, people of Earth.
So all that's new.
Dicky.
I recorded that like less than a month ago.
Here's Dicky. He's having a dream.
Okay, so anyway, there he is. Now, by the way, I decided to do Dicky's voice is just my voice. I stayed up way too late. It's a little bit more swaggery than my normal voice, but I didn't try to make up a caricature for him. I just tried to kind of be myself.
The Amazon Alexa of yesteryear.
That's right. Now, Bleebot. I gotta talk about Bleebot.
what I was trying to do with my mouth
I was trying to imitate a speech synthesizer
where I talk like this and then I do this.
where my voice constricts.
It starts to sound like Kermit.
Floating. Where's another floating head character you might have seen before called Radiskull. He floats through sheer force of will and hatred. But Bleebot floats through anti-gravity waves that are coming out of his neck, I guess is. Okay, so let's take a look at this one scene in the original. Let's look to it in the original. And that's the actual size too. I went through all the scenes and redid the art, stretched the art out to fit more of this aspect ratio that is an HD screen. That was the main job. I had to go through the whole episode and change the artwork. Now, I also couldn't help it. Not only did I touch all the artwork and make it fit a much larger stage area. Now, luckily, because this is Flash, it's pretty amazing what you could do in Flash, since it's mostly vector-based. However, not everything in the episode was vectors. So here I am drilling down into an object here. I mean, that's zooming the screen. Let me zoom in like this. So see, as I zoom in, of course, this is like Flash 101. These are vectors. But let's take a look at some of these things, some of the choices I made on this character. If I were to do this character again, I probably wouldn't give him 4 arms. You know what I mean? I was trying to make it simple, and like I said, I got another floating head here, this time a robot. Now Bleebot, I'm controlling him, as you can see right here if you know a little bit about Flash. You have these layers. There's Bleebot, and when I'm moving around on a simple Bleebot as one object. But if I double click and go deeper in here, we can see what this one object is made of. And you see there's lots of things here. There's the hands and the arms. And as simple as they are, and then there's the pupil too. The pupil is turning on, it's flashing, it's blinking. This is my typical way of doing eyeballs is by making these little shape tweens. He's got a little, for speaking, all he does is flashes little lights around his eyes. Around his mouth there, see that? So yeah, there we go. But what's going on with those arms? These are just lines. So let me go find a keyframe on one of these guys. Let's go over here where he's gesturing. He's saying, oh, he hears Dicky waking up. It's like his whole life revolves around Dicky, basically. Just what can he do for him? What can he do? So what is this? Well, there it is. It's got points, right? It's just a line, a vector line. And I can go in and I could, if I wanted to get really elaborate with this hand, do some pincer motion or something like that, I could do that. Let's see what happens when I did do that. So his hand's going up. See that? See that transition between those hands? See, from that hand to that hand. Like if I wanted this hand to come together, I could bring these things really close and get them very, very close together if I wanted to. So this is just basic vector manipulation. But I chose to put the hands on their own tracks and the arms themselves on a different track right there. So there's the arm, and these are shape tweens. So as his moves, see, I just modified it right here. Now, one of the great things about Flash that kept me in Flash instead of trying to do this back, so much work if I tried to move all this vector art over to After Effects and do it all in there. But they have some wonderful things in here. So these tweens right here, these shape tweens, let me get my normal thing back here, my normal arrow, the selection tool. So they have new things in Flash, which is this quad ease in and ease out. Let me do no ease. If you know a little bit about animation, no ease means linear, just 1, 2, 3, 4. You go at the same speed as you go from one place to the next. This is like but it ease in, ease out, it takes a little time to start off and then it slows down. So with no ease on these shape tweens, we've got this. This is just a complete one-to-one move from one spot to the other with no graceful easing. But you've got a large selection of these cool eases now. So you can go and ease in and ease out, and you can do it really intense if you want. This is kind of the path, meaning it takes a long time to get going, then it goes really fast, and then it goes really slow. So now all of these shape tweens and other normal tweens can be exaggerated. So see that? See when he starts, the hand starts to leave, oh, it's barely moving, then it goes really fast and then it slows down at its next thing. So this is the kind of grace you can get with these shape twings, which is really quite amazing. So here we are, I've got him doing all these actions. You see he's not moving, so once I get this action of him going, when I get back out here, I can move all that action a secondary time. So I can go out here and say, he's going to get really excited. Now he's going to bump up and down. He's going to jump all around like this. So what I'm doing is I'm just going around and I'm just freaking him out. So now he's going woo woo. So what I did just now, let me back out just a little bit. So I just, I took that action and I made it jump around. Now, of course, I completely ruined it and destroyed the illusion. He's going behind his charger here. But you get the idea. So this is just basics of like layers and layers within layers, objects within objects. Flash does a really good job of handling all this stuff. It's so lightweight. I worked pretty hard on this scene in here and got kind of carried away. I started making a 3D scene and stuff like that. Well, you see it in Coffee with Friends, and I'm like, let's just make a video. I'll make a song, Coffee with Friends, right? And then I'm thinking, as I'm working on this, I'm like, duh, my biggest Coffee with Friends characters of all time are Radiskull and Devil Doll. I mean, come on.
Is it boiling hot?
Just how you like it.
Give to Radiskull.
Anyway, so I'm like, oh my god, Coffee with Friends is perfect. Then I can animate Radiskull and Devil Doll. A month or so later, Coffee with Friends. Here we are, he's calling up Dicky and his phone comes ringing across the kitchen. This is...
Who is it? Hermie.
Now, that phone...
Caller ID.
Exactly. That is the caller ID. Check out that 2002 phone there, the radio phone that everyone had in their houses. Coming up here is probably one of the best scenes.
It's my favorite.
Who wants to be in my soup?
I'll make some soup.
What?
That sounds good. Who wants to be in my soup?
Excited. And also excited.
I do. I do.
You should have used that carrot.
Come on.
I mean...
But look at this.
But soup is like the perfect thing for like vegetables on the edge, you know?
You know what? I'm not going to debate
slimy.
cooking, okay? I'm not going to debate cooking right now.
That's a different show.
We're talking about this, how I nailed it. I think in this scene right here, I've set up the situation perfectly. All the healthy vegetables can't wait to be in the soup. Everything wants to be needed. This was kind of my guiding thing with Dicky and Jackie. I wanted everything to just desperately want to be needed and want to be put to its best possible use. And including this sad little carrot here who's trying so hard, and I just love how he pulls himself together off of the ground with his
crutch.
His little crutch just kind of springs to life here. Watch how he's laying on there and I do. Okay, and then we get into the song, Who Wants to Be in My Soup?
Who wants to be in my soup?
It's a good one. It's pretty funny.
Who wants to be in my
There's a
soup?
few cool moments here, like...
Who wants to be in my soup?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Fire eyes.
Yeah, the little fire comes up there, a little
Who wants to get
illustration.
real hot? Who wants to boil in a great big
Good old
pot?
shape swinging and flash. Now look how happy this pot is. This pot can't wait to be put. And then you know who else who can't wait to be put to good use? Is good old Bleebot.
I'm okay, Bleebot. Don't worry about me.
Dicky's trying to...
Let me help you with the vegetables.
Of course, he picks the wrong carrot. Now, Bleebot is, he's a robot, but he's kind of like Dicky's little side project, making a robot, making some sort of intelligence. Obviously, he's got a long ways to go, right?
Right. He's
got a long ways to go. He can't even speak right. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Which reminds me of have anyone seen the original Battlestar Galactica? They had this little, awful, horrible robot. In fact, all shows, I think, in the 70s and 80s had horrible robots that would go dee-bee, 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 dee-bee. And they just make like weird sounds and stuff before they talk. Dee-bee, dee-bee, dee-bee. Yes, Captain. Dee-bee, dee-bee, dee. So I'm just doing a little bit of that with Bleebot. Bleep, bleep, bleep. We all know here that he tries to give him the carrot.
Bleebot, this carrot is going bad. I can't use that.
Yeah.
A little cry. Oh, it's so sad.
I know, isn't it? Look.
So sad.
Man.
Especially on Thanksgiving. It's like...
I know.
Crushing.
I got plans for that carrot too, but watch this star trash can.
Is it going to come back? to life? Is it a zombie carrot?
You might find out what's going to happen. You know those stories about dogs that travel across the country to be reunited? Think of that. Okay, so now watch this trash can. He's really getting into the job of being a trash can.
I can't use that.
Now watch this. Watch him raise the knife. I like that part. There's like a little blur.
Do not touch the knives.
Kind of anticipation. And
Knives can hurt you.
Reacts to it a little bit. Now another thing about this scene, these carrots, I had no idea how hard it was going to be. See, there's one piece of art. Now there's two. Two new ones. Now there's 3, 4, 5. Every one of these are new pieces of art because I had to have a new carrot that no longer was as long. And not only that, the knife had to go in between the carrot slices.
This is where the carrot starts slicing. Okay, right here. So let's just look at this. Let's just double click right here and take a look at what the carrot is. So the carrot's sitting here. If I start hiding everything else but it, we see the carrot sitting there and the knife is part of the carrot. And we got Dicky's arm is sitting on top of that. What else we got? Probably behind here we got a Dicky mask. Yes, there's the rest of Dicky. We got the pot. We got all these different parts. Now let's go into the carrot itself. Notice this carrot, what happens? There's where it pierces. Let's go right inside the carrot at this moment right here. And we see this is where the split to another piece happens. One frame before, what we had is this piece of art. It's a total piece of art. Okay, it's right here, and then it cuts off, so it disappears. This carrot disappears, revealing a carrot underneath it. There's the initial carrot. Then we create this, and this carrot disappears. We can't tell that it disappears, but it does. It's no longer there. What we got now is carrot piece 1, and it bounces over there. Boom, boom, boom. If we were to go inside of this carrot, piece of art sitting in a graphic. So this hiding of the previous art and revealing 2 new pieces of art, this carrot and this carrot, just happens. It happens over and over again. So the carrots, let me move this up. So each time we got to get rid of 1 piece of art and introduce 2 new pieces of art, and so on all the way through to the end. This orange bit of shape twinning over here is just the carrot face right here, this carrot. The eyes, there's a track for each eye, and there's a track for the mouth. And it's going between, you know, a smile and saying, ow. So there we go. And we see the transition from saying, ow, back to a smile. And then as I get closer, right when the mouth, right there. Yeah, there we go. That. Oh, and then it just kind of goes out. And then, you know, shape twinning, you can also shape tween transparency too. So the color inside of this guy is transparent as he starts to fade out. And you can see that that's just reflected in the color right here with an alpha F51. So you can shape tween lots of things, not just the shapes. You can shape tween the fills and the transparencies and the gradients as well. Now that's enough about the carrot for now.
I think I improved this scene. This has got modern audio. It's got a 3D spaceship that looks like a macaroon, looks like a pistachio macaroon.
My fellow apes.
I try to make everything green, like a green aliens, come on, right? And they actually look like the grays. If you look at the shape of the head, that looks like the classic gray aliens, you know, with the big eyes. Then they got the antenna. Antenna, I try to make it kind of bounce, like watch. See, I love when the little guy gets all bent out of shape. Hiss. I kind of reanimated it to make it more fit the dialogue of the character, and I reanimated all the people in the audience like cheering at the right time and kind of moving better. I think I improved it quite a bit.
Let's take a look at my original alien scene.
Meanwhile, in deep space.
Listen closely, brethren. We have finally isolated the only real threat to our plans for planet Earth. It is named Dicky, and we must eradicate it.
Oh no, it seems the aliens have it in for Mr. Dicky.
I could have left it at that. I probably could have left it at that. No, I couldn't. I just couldn't leave it at that. I wanted to do something better because these are the bad guys. I wanted to do a better job, but let's look at the flash part first. First of all, let's see what I did in this re-art. I think I actually did try to just fix the art and get away with that, is what I did. So in scene 13, yeah, I changed the art, the size, the scale, and all that kind of stuff, and tried to fix it a little bit, but what I ended up doing was a lot more. So, okay, I'm ready to break down everything that went into this alien scene. There's this black solid, which is where the stars are. It's a particle system, if you've ever used a particle system. So I made a complete 20-minute video on just making stars in After Effects.
Who wants to make some stars? Make some outer space, some star fields.
Please go take a look at this in-depth look at making stars on my channel.
The great thing about particles is they do respond to the camera. The camera in the null lets you kind of move through the particles like you're flying through space. I've got some video here. So this is a fast-moving clouds that I shot, I think, just with my phone. I've got so many clouds and skies. I take a lot of shots of clouds and skies, and they're very useful. And here's an example of something you'd think in space. Why do I need Earth clouds in space? Well, let's get back over here to the scene. So let's turn on the stars. There's two things. I wanted this space to be kind of green. I did a tritone. See this tritone? This is so cool. It's a really neat. Let me just turn off the curves for a second. Turn off the tritone. But what I did is I made them transparent, right? So that the space comes through a little better. And then I used this tritone to make the highlights green and the shadows more red, and the middle kind of olive green. I wanted to match the ship a little bit. And then to compress it down a little bit, let's see, the curves take it from that foggy mist that's filling. It makes the darks darker. And all of that is just, so when we turn on these windows here, see, there they are. Now these are spinning. I had, in all my infinite lack of wisdom, I made these windows spin. Let's move in a little closer. So, by the way, I've got this set to quarter. If you were to see this at full resolution, that would be, you know, the resolution that it's published at. It's pretty high resolution. But, you know, while you're working, put this on quarter. You're not drawing every pixel, you're drawing a lot less. There's the background on the ship, rotating windows, there's stars, there's fog. What's next? Center stage. So this is a separate 3D rendering. 3D rendering, you say, well, where did you do this? In good old Blender 3D, which is a wonderful thing. This is inside the ship. So see that? I did want the camera to zoom in for real, but I gave up on that. But essentially I needed this loop to just continue forever. This is a very dark scene. I wanted more like silhouettes, but there is actually lights and there's some materials. So here's the center stage, right? So I just made these weird looking devices. Material. So you can see they're just kind of spinning in place there. They're just these weird little rings. I just wanted some sort of little action. So now I've rendered this out, again, just like in Flash. So it's its own layer here. Now we've got some thick clouds in here I added just for dimension. This is fog. These are 4K fogs you can get for free. Premium beat overlays. They got these free 4K fogs. They're really useful. I use them all the time in almost every video. So yeah, it just gives a little, when the camera moves too, the fog moves with it, so it gives a sense of place and depth. Now I've got this screen. This is just a shape here in After Effects. So see this, I got a fast box blur on it. You see undo on that move. If I turn these guys off, you would see that it's nothing but a shape with a line. But that is just the setting for the projection of the presentation of the leader. So here it comes. There's the presentation. So yeah, Dicky's in the screen. You know, the leader here, he's doing his own little presentation to his crew, basically. And what an elaborate PowerPoint we got going on over here. It's pretty nuts. Now, I could have done a much better job at this. People have done much better projection of holograms. But, you know, it's okay. I tried different things, like, you know, having it less transparent, stuff like that, and I decided it's more important to actually see what's going on. I did some quick wiggles on the transparency to make it kind of flicker a little. That effect you see when it first comes on, this is just a scatter. So let's see, like as it's coming on, let's zoom in a little bit more. That's a scatter effect plugin. See it, you can adjust it. I can go down to nothing. And if I go down to nothing, you'll see it's just plain. But as I add more scatter, it gets all kind of, this is scatter along the horizontal, just makes it kind of fuzzy, like it's coming in and out of resolution. And on top of that are all these aliens, okay, doing their thing. Now, there's just two things worth showing you here. Some points I do a hard jump on the camera to get closer.
My fellow eggs, we are conquerors. Hiss, hiss. The eggs shall conquer Earth. Hiss, hiss.
Now,
I just really like the Palm Pilot
the Palm Pilot.
there.
The Palm Pilot's going nuts there.
Only one thing stands in our way. It is called Dicky.
Okay.
We must eradicate it.
Idea
His
for an Instagram, but
What
I
is
have
it?
this amazing like space outfit. You'll see. Joe
So
needs
you
to
want
make
me-
it for me, so I want him
you
to
to be
like
there with
put
the
me
alien?
in with the aliens.
Sounds
my
good.
cool space outfit.
So these 4 layers here are followers. Let me turn off all this soloing. Look at just these guys. So here they are. They're dark, all 4 are the exact same animation. So see, there they are doing their thing, right? Let me just play a little bit of some.
My fellow eggs.
So they're just kind of
Conquerors. Hiss.
his, and yeah, okay, see now they get all excited, right? Now we're zoomed in on the leader. His, okay. But notice they're doing the same thing, but not at the same times. So see when they get excited, let's get to another excited point right here. Right there, okay. See they're moving just a little bit out of link with each other. What you do is you enable time remapping, right? One of the most powerful, wonderful things about After Effects. See these time remappings? It's like a place in the movie. Imagine there's the 1st second, there's the 10th second, and there's the 20th second. And normally those seconds would happen over time. But what you can do is you can push that time closer and speed up some events, but while simultaneously making other events slow down. So all of these little keyframes you're seeing here, these keyframes are time events. Right here, those are times in the same animation, so that we're at a different point on each one. I just staggered them a little. So some animations start and stop at different points, just a little. And since they're kind of in the background and shadowy, no one's really going to notice. Instead of making 4 different aliens, I just made 1 alien, flipped it, give them different colors and positions in space, and jiggled up the time. But that's handling the aliens. Now, I did a separate one for the cutaway scene when we cut it to that like eager beaver who wanted to cheer out of turn. I called it Follower Makes a Mistake over here. Let's just watch the sad alien. He gets too excited. They speak through this little mandible. It almost deflates like a little mustache that got wet, okay? And the antennas are wiggling, watch. So here he is. He's just one animation too, and I used it in 2 places. He goes hiss on his own. It's the first time we see one of the followers by himself. He's got like slightly bigger eyes, and of course he's got the sad eyes. And I thought, I liked that. One of the things I liked about these characters with their segments is they can really stretch up tall, and then they can retract. They can go down up tall and then retract. Poor little alien. He's so sad. He's so pathetic too. Alright, so I've opened up the Follower Makes Mistake animation just to show you how I did it. It's just like I did everything else in Flash. But there is some complexities. So here we are inside of scene 1, and there's this guy, his name is Follower 1. Let's double click on him. The first object itself, the whole object itself, which has the hips. Okay, what's on the hips? Let's hide and show some of these things so we can see what's going on. There's a segment. It is right here a graphic. Then there is everything else in one object. So this also has a couple of legs. Okay, so those legs. So he stands up, right? He stands up, and this top part right here is just one object. However, if we double click on it and go inside, you see it is the same situation. So except now we've got arms. We've got a segment, we've got 2 arms, and then we got yet another segment, which is a big complicated object, right? We just keep going deeper. Now look how far we are across here. We got Follower Who Makes a Mistake, complete. And then we got section 3, section 2, and let me guess, this is gonna be section 1, and inside of section 1, we got a similar arrangement, right? So I had to go and make an animation.
Shall conquer.
Now, this one is for, this is particular, is just, all we needed was him hissing out a turn, and then we needed him to react to the shh, right? And go down like that. There's one more complicated segment in here, and that's the head. So let's go to the head. Now look how far we are. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels deep, and now we've got the head. Now the head itself is more complicated than these other guys. All of these other guys have 2 arms and a section, right? This one's got several things going on. Let's go inside and see what they are. So one is the antennas. These guys right here. Flash has got this wonderful soloing system that I wish After Effects and everything else had. You just option click on something, it solos everything else, or it hides, shows, or it outlines or not outlines, which is really handy. I'm outlining the entire head except for the antennas, just so you get a clear idea of what I'm talking about here. So there's two channels here for the antennas. Now, let me show you a little bit. This is shape tweening, but with lines, and it has its own kind of problem. Sometimes you won't believe how dumb it can be. These are lines, okay? They're just lines, as opposed to fills. There's two things, fills and lines in the world of vectors. So like, if I'm going to make, let's make something like this, right? Green, and let's make this stroke. So in this case, with this square, there is the shape, which is the fill. This is all a shape, but there's two aspects to it. The line, which is a line, and behaves differently. It's a path, versus a fill, which now, in the world of Flash vectors, it's really funny because they act like bitmaps. You can just cut them up and stuff, and they behave so differently than than any other shape thing you've ever seen. I mean, it's so pliable and like silly putty how these vectors work. Okay, but what I'm trying to distinguish here from the fill is the lines. But it adds a different kind of animation. And it's simple, it's nice, it's nice. Sometimes you really must have a fill to animate with, like Devil Doll's bodysuit, his little red pajamas. And shape tweens work on lines beautifully. So look how intuitive this is. Oh, but then he's getting scared. He's kind of embarrassed that he did the wrong thing, so his little antennas wilt and shake, but it's so simple. So I've added keyframes so I could I'm just dragging on. This is what's great about Flash. You can just drag on shapes. Look at that. Look at all that action between those guys. Anyway, I just wanted to show a little bit how I set this up. There's probably, in After Effects, you wouldn't need to have so many objects within objects within objects. Because you could, in one thing, you could parent objects to other objects, and they would behave as if they were inside of objects. But inside of Flash, you don't have that option. And well, maybe you do now, and I just don't know about it. But the way to do it is to treat it all as one object inside of another object, and then when you move that object, the other object gets carried with it, and so on, all the way down. Okay, I hope that wasn't too nuts, but here we are. Let's just take a look at the face, though. Let's go edit in a new window so we see nothing but the head. Let's just hide that. Okay, line shape tweens are very easy. Now this mandible, these manda shapes right here, the same thing. This is a shape, it's actually a gradient. I tried to make this color is a gradient from a bright green to a dark green to make the darker closer to the face. So if you see this here, you can control the shape of gradients. You don't have a lot of control over it, but you do have this radial shape. And so I'm making the darker closer to the mouth there, just to give it a slight bit of dimensionality. Every time he needs to say a word, like hiss, hiss, I'm changing the shape out here like this. But this requires shape hints. I added a shape hint. Let me remove that hint. If I did not have these shape hints, guys, I'm just going to remove these hints, and see if I can create a problem situation. Yes, okay, see that? Without the hints to guide it, things can really get messy. So, notice the sharp corners at the ends of the mandibles. Look, they're turning into flat corners. They're doing some odd things. Now, this is the most graceful mistake of all. This is nothing. It can sometimes be way worse than this. The path of transition can be much worse. This one's actually not bad a mistake, but what you do to control that, what I'm talking about right here, where the point stops being a point and gets out of whack on its path to the new shape, is something called shape hints. Use them all the time. Sometimes it's very frustrating. You just got to get used to it. There is the keyframe before and the keyframe after. So we're on the keyframe before and they're red because they don't have it matched. What I got to do is put B at the B, and see suddenly it turns green, A at the A, and so now they're matched, and see the little points stay pointy as they go out. But guess what? They don't on the way back. Why? Because we need companion. We need more shape hints for this keyframe too. It's kind of a mess, and it can be very laborious if you got very complicated shapes and you need to guide them carefully. And also they don't always work. They don't always work properly. You gotta try different combinations of shape tents and so on. Probably the more useful thing is these eyes. I do these kind of eye things all the time. So let's hide everything but these eyes. So there they are. They're just shapes. Now in this case, they have no lines. They're fills. And I do, he's getting all tensed up when he hisses, and they get squashed in. And good old Flash, if I want him to squash in tighter in Flash, I just push him in like that. And now there's a problem there, so that's going to be not so good. But now you can see that it probably still works though. See, they just got a lot tighter there. I'm going to undo those. There we go. All right, so just more shape tweaks for the eyes. When he got sad there, I decided it would be a nice idea to add a little shiny spot there to go a little, sadness. They're acting like pupils in a way, but they're also kind of acting like highlights, and they give them a kind of cute, like, oh, sad. I've been doing mostly shape tweens, but also just what they're called motion tweens. I still only use the classic tween, because the new motion tweens I never really use. They're not new anymore. They're very old. They're like 15 years old, but I never got into the new motion tweens, and I just use the classic tweens. Thank God they kept the classic tweens alone. Get back into. Let me hit revert. I don't know why all applications do not have a revert to get you right back to where you were before in one quick move. So, but let's talk about animating, for example, this climb to the top from up here and coming on down, this kind of action. So let's see if I wanted to change him to stretch even taller. Like he's just not tall enough for me. I want him to be go even taller when he goes from here. I want him to go as high as possible. So what I do is I just raise this one to the tippy top, go inside. One great thing now that Flash has improved is it takes you right to the keyframe on the embedded object, which is really nice. Go put him up there. Maybe I'll tilt him more like that too. Let's go back out here and tilt this guy too. Not only is he going to go tall, he's going to get very tilty. So we're going to tilt him over like that. And then let me go inside of this object. Do the same thing for this guy. Did I make it inside? Looks like he's off by one keyframe. Let's move him over so he's on the same keyframe as the others. So as you see, I'm just going deeper and deeper in each layer and in pushing the location and the rotation even farther. Hey, head, I need you to do the same thing. Now, so let's go back to the beginning so we can see it. See, as we go through each section, we only see the animation for that section. We can't see them all the way together until we get back to the entire object, and then we can see them all working together. So now I just really stretched them out, right? That's some of the kind of sophistication you can get when you have linked objects. When you have a hierarchy of objects like this, you can do some very interesting action. Okay, I just want to talk a bit about spaceship, which looks like a macaroon. There it is. I created it here in good old Blender, and I exported out the animation. And there's all my Blender files, and when I rendered them PNG files. So there they are, PNG files. The great thing about PNG files, PNG has the alpha channel in it. It's nice to render PNGs because they're numbered, and you can start at a precise point, like say 200 frames in. You can add more files to the folder without losing your other work. In videos, it's just a little more messy to have to keep rendering new videos. Anyway, sometimes there's a lot of advantages to PNG. Also, you can have really high bit depth for these guys if you need a lot of color. I rendered just this guy rotating. That's it. If we go into his composition, the Scoutship 3D render, you will see that this is all it is. See? Oh, it's just, I hit play, come on guys. It's just a continuous rotation in space, not even any tweening on it. It's just a 2-second loop of rotation. So I wanted him to kind of like beam in a little bit and then just go nuts. So I just went nuts with it, just like spun it around. I've got some colors, all the beautiful things that After Effects offers. A camera, so the camera's moving, and so the stars and see how the stars are kind of zooming in a little into the stars a little bit. We're also zooming into, we're panning around. Let me show you one trick that I use all the time to add additional dimension to the scene, and that is to take a null, which is just an empty object sitting in space. Let's see, 2 views across. So this is a top view. So there's a camera, there's the camera, it's pointing at the scene, and it's attached to, this camera is attached to this null object, which is out there in the center of the screen. It's just a thing in space. Let's do this view from, not this custom view, so we can get a little different scene. So there's our little, rendered out spaceship. It's this 2D thing now, it's just those PNG files. But it's in 3D space, so I can make it go forwards or back in space and give it keyframes and all that stuff. So I just threw this animation around the screen and I did some effects on it, like this glow. So if we turn that glow off, you'll see it's just the same old shit. Except there's some other stuff going on. There's some curves to really compress it. I'm animating the curves over time to just make the brights brighter and stuff like that. There's a wave warp. So see that kind of wavy thing going on there? There's a little animation of it kind of flipping out, like it's energy buzz almost, this random science fiction stuff. Yeah, it comes out and there's motion blur. And motion blur is also kind of based on the camera view too. So like the motion blur and the color effects just kind of give it a lot more action. It's doing more stuff. And then that combined with the music as it comes on. All right, so let's listen to the sound, the final, that was in the final movie.
Meanwhile, in deep space.
My fellow X.
And we see meanwhile in deep space. Now I just want to point out, isn't this a lot better than what I had before? Because that was crap. That space thing, that was pathetic. This looks bad. I can't put my name on that. I can't use this space. This space is going bad. So I had to do something better. Dude, I've done Spaceship Warlock. I've done work for NASA. I can't do crappy space. Even though it's a macaron, it's a pistachio macaron in space, I had to do something. So I'm just pulling out a bunch of motion blur, freakouts on screen, 3D space, and then it settles down. And then of course, we've got Scout Ship, the bad aliens. Let's make it really clear, right? And so they come on, and the other thing I did, I think for the story's sake, was I made it say that they were heading off to Earth at that one point. That's just to give it a sense of like the story continues, all that. Now I want to go talk a bit about the music and show a little bit of sound. So just for fun, hold on, all right, so let's listen to the sound, the final, that was in the final movie.
Meanwhile, in deep space.
My fellow X.
Okay, there's just some disco and some sci-fi noises. I'm just gonna open in Studio One and also show you something really, really cool that I'd never really used before. I'd done a little bit of this in Logic. This is the first time I actually worked on a soundtrack inside of Studio One. It's pretty cool what you can do these days. I can't even believe it. I am sitting here recording 2 monitors myself through a nice camera, and I'm recording audio on a nice mic, and I'm also working with all of these tools. So here I am in Studio One. If it's from PreSonus, it's pretty cool. I've now spent over 1.5 years with this thing. It's pretty awesome. Now, one of the things that I haven't used until now though is this. Okay, so what are you hearing right now? Well, you're hearing things that I played. See this instrument over here? This is, by the way, a brand new keyboard I just got. Nakai. Where are you? Okay, yeah, one of my favorites. In fact, I've liked this one so much that I just bought the entire V series. It's a bunch of synthesizers they've emulated, or they've just recreated, re-engineered a bunch of classic synthesizers. But as you can see here, this is the entire soundtrack for Dicky and Jackie. Many, many tracks. I got my original tracks up here. I've got all these little segments.
Hello, people of Earth. Meet Dicky.
So there is, so I recorded all of these parts. So there it is. We can go see what exactly did I do for this guy. So here you can see that I've got a harmonizer on him. Let's turn these off and listen to it really dry.
Dicky.
There we go. That's dry. Very dry.
Dicky. Meet.
Let's try them all together here.
Hello, people of Earth.
That's just, hello! That's just me talking. But then listen to this harmonizer on it.
Hello, people of Earth.
See, there's like another voice with it that's kind of going in and out of pitch. Then we've got some sort of compressor going on it.
Hello, people of Earth.
And then we've got this open air. Which one is this? This is just a nice, there's so many reverbs. This is like a reverb right now. It's a small vocal room. So let's listen to it.
Hello, people of Earth.
There's a little echo there. Let's say if it was, I don't know what vocal magic is. Let's see what that is.
Hello, people of Earth.
Look at all these tracks, right? So I even got, let's see what.
Here's Dicky now.
I've got alternate.
Dream.
I've got alternate takes and stuff, right? So, you know, I tried to do some surgery on the sounds I didn't like in here, but the amazing thing was I could export and edit. So yeah, I was able to go and just remix all of the sounds in the entire episode to the video itself. Like I could go in here, if I wanted this refrigerator sound, which I recorded my own refrigerator. Most of these sounds, everything, I just recorded myself around the house. If I could say, I need that to happen, I know it's perfectly timed, but say I needed to happen sooner, I just drag that sound over here and see, I've got a couple sounds in here. I mean, it's great. I can apply all these effects, I can pitch shift, I can record, I can play music right along with the video. The only thing I think for future creators, if there was some sort of animation music station together, because right now, anyway, there's a little touch of editing. Cool sounds I got around here. So just some spacey sounds, nice for space. Well, I think I'm just about done with this making of Dicky and Jackie. It's gonna be a monster, it's gonna be huge. There's nothing else to do, right? You're not done yet, no! No, you're not done! That's right, I'm supposed to do something. For JJ, what am I gonna do? Let's put her in this scene with the alien. This shouldn't be that hard to do, actually. Let's set this to be, I'm in After Effects in case you didn't realize it. And what we want to do is the alien is going to point over here. His presentation is going to switch to joesparks. So first I'm going to go and get that graphic. Okay, so here it is. It's her right here in this office against the green screen. I'm going to bring that image right inside of the old After Effects library. Hold down the Option key with it selected, drag it there and drop, and boom, there we go. Now we see we got a mask over the presentation, and it's much larger. Let's go to Effects and look for Key Light. So I'll grab the green. You might want actually a more medium green for this. Okay, we're almost there. It's looking pretty good. Fool with this. What I should do is solo this so we can see it. So now we can see, first of all, I need to use this mask. Luckily this is not moving at all. Let's just scale her down. The problem is it's probably better if she's big. I mean, for her purposes, I think what really should be, she should fill this whole area right here. Alright, change of plans. Instead of trying to make her fit inside of this alien scene, I'm going to do something else. These shapes, if you're nothing selected, you're going to make a new shape layer. But if something is selected, like JJ in her Saturn skirt, when I use one of these things, which I'm going to use, I think, the ellipse tool for this, what I'm going to do is create a mask so that only a certain part of it shines through, and that is the part I want to shine through. I chose the ellipse because it's tighter. This is it. So let's unsolo this. Let's see what it looks like in space. Move this over here. Anyway, I'm going to come up with something. I'll come up with something. It'll be all right. I'm back from yet another Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, you want to tell me what's going on here?
I just made the most traditional Thanksgiving dinner in the most untraditional format, and I even made stuffing with no recipe, and I've never made it before.
Yes, it was very good. It was a day after Thanksgiving dinner. What am I gonna do? JJ wants a post, so I think I've come up with something. Meet JJ. He wants to get some aliens in here. Flash video export. So I've taken all this vector animation, exporting it as alpha channeled QuickTime movie files, basically. But right now I'm just looking for some aliens. So I got a follower alien movie right here. Let's bring this in. I've also made this square instead of HD size. Composition settings, actually. I did it 1080 by 1080. Square is like a little bit more Instagram friendly or social media friendly. I'm going to take this follower and I'm going to put it in this scene. So there it is. So it's kind of looking over at her. See, she's looking over here. JJ is the only thing that's not moving, except it is moving. She's moving in space, but she's not video. She's just a photograph. So everything else is kind of moving around her. But what I'm going to do is make this more of a silhouette. Let's also figure out where it's going to be. Over here. Notice these are the 3D controls in 3D space. I'm going on the Z. Now I'm pushing it closer. Oh, look, I pushed it right through the terrain. I can't push it that far. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to take the terrain. This is what's the planet landscape. I'm going to push that farther back. Way back there like that. Oh, it's behind the Earth. See, there's the Earth in there. Farther away than it is right now. Out there. And then we want the Earth right here. Let's push it farther out there. So it's behind. Let's put her, that Z, put her farther out. Let's see. Yeah, see, there we go. Let's zoom in a little bit. There she is. Standing there. A little bit of shadow. She looks a little bit like Alice in Wonderland standing there. See, it's very dark. Here's the curves. Now we got to make sure that the alien's in a good spot. JJ's farther back. Also, now that JJ is a little bit smaller in the frame, I think I can move her over. I'm just going to push it farther out there and maybe a little more off to the side. Earth is rising. Things are getting a little brighter around here. Okay. It's kind of interesting. It's going really slow. But right now, I'm going to be done with this because I want to show you something else. I rendered this out of Flash, and I also rendered this part too without the hills in the background, okay? Pinching up like that. I rendered that out separately, and I rendered this out separately. Okay, so here's what I ended up with. Let's watch this. How did I get this nice blurry kind of glowy look? We've got some vectors here, and they're independent. So we can do things like this glow. So if I turn the glow off, you see the glow is going around the logo, and it's going around the heads of the characters. Behind that, we've got the hills. On these hills, what do we got? I've got a fast radial blur. If I turn that off, see the blur on the hill there? I'm animating that too, by the way. But that's not even what's causing the biggest thing. If I turn off the adjustment layer, it looks awfully flat, right? That's just with the glow and the radial blur on everything. But what's really giving it its kind of extra punch is lumetri color sitting on top of it. And so what this is I've used it throughout the whole episode to kind of gather all the colors into a certain palette. Like no matter what part from whatever scene, whatever colors I use, it kind of moves it into a unified palette that is reflected in the entire movie. It just pulls things together. Then there's also this vignette thing. And I've got a fast box blur on this thing that comes in at the beginning to make it really blurry. See, I've got this blur radius. I started off with it really blurry, not that blurry, but this blurry, and then I tweet it down till it's not even there. It's just a kind of like coming out of the mist kind of feeling, especially with this music. Now, but this lumetri color thing, I just picked one that I was okay with. I don't like to spend too much time with it. I chose this SL Blue Ice one, which I thought was good enough. And then I just adjust the intensity, and when you put it in an adjustment layer, everything under the adjustment layer gets hit by it. Let's just A/B it real quick. If we look at the original Flash, there it is, right? And then we look at this, it just gives it a kind of a more filmic look, right? Let's take a look at this one more time. So this is closer to what I published, and this is what I was starting with. Very flat to this, which I just think has a more, you know, it's a pretty cool feel. I like it a lot, and I've been using it in everything I do. I mean, it works great with video too, but it just gives a kind of a softness and a richness to these flat vectors that I'm enjoying. I'm enjoying a lot. Well, I hope that was enjoyable to some of you. If you like seeing this kind of thing, let me know. So I'm going to try to do a lot of tool stuff. It's pretty fun. I'm still just amazed that we can make these videos like this, that we can work at this high quality, that we have access to all these tools. I'm telling you right now, this is such the future. Like back when I was a kid, or in like 1990 when I was trying to do games and stuff like that, we could only dream of like even real-time 3D or anything you see today that's so commonplace. I mean, this was just some far-out fantasy science fiction reality. It's finally here, and I can't believe the powers we have of creating stuff with the tools that we have today. It's really an amazing time to be working on this stuff. Very excited to be doing it. And also, please subscribe. And thank you very much. Take care.
16 years ago, it was a tough time for Joe and the rest of the world. .com crashes, 9/11 whiplashes. I could have had a heart attack, but instead, what did I do? Instead of having a heart attack, I created Dicky and Jackie. Instead of falling apart, I took something from my heart. I created Dicky and Jackie. And 16 years later, I finished it up. That's right,